Silver Dragon here, coming at you with some Dwarf Fortress. Gonna be continuing where we last left off. Now give me a hot second here. As always, what it seems when I hop on here. Now I am kind of feeling a bit shitty today, so I'm probably not gonna go for more than like an hour, hour and a half. But I figured, you know what? I got to at least try to maintain my schedule, even if I feel like crap. I'm like, screw it. So we're going to do this today. Now, continuing from last time, I'm not 100% sure if this fortress will last all that long. Because if nothing really crazy happens in this evil biome, then I'm not sure if I'm really going to want to keep going with it. Or if I just want to, you know, maybe jump onto a different evil biome. Or kind of like let this fortress go and jump onto another one, which would be more interesting. But I have one good bit of news, which I'm sure many of you were probably already aware of. But hey, we finally have the beta version for Dwarf Therapist. Now, it is not perfect, and unfortunately because of the way that the Dwarf Fortress coding is kind of set up, and we can see here that the current version of Dwarf Fortress does actually globally enable all jobs for every dwarf. It just prioritizes the dwarves for a job that have a higher skill rating. So when you're locking your dwarves to a job, you are actually locking them to those jobs, but you are kind of like, what's the word? Sorry, my brain, today might be a really brain farty day. But yeah, so if you assign them jobs using Dwarf Therapist right now, even though it works, regular Dwarf Fortress at the moment tends to override that after a while. So it's not 100% kind of effective right now, which is to be expected. This is a beta, so it's kind of expected for that to happen. I wonder if any of the actual text shows up. Not on stream, but yeah, whatever, it shows up on my screen. But the good thing that this is useful for is, of course, sorting by migration wave, so you can actually see what your guys are. It's also more easy to check the military level of your dwarves, and to be able to more quickly go, like, for example, Cole here is my military guy, so I can go like, okay, let's pop back on here, go to military. Obviously, we already have him set up as a military guy, but if we didn't, we could then go in here, assign position 2. I'm looking for this guy. Okay, click, done. And then we can assign them and kind of get them equipped with everything that we need to do. So it's very useful for being able to kind of have on the other side of the other screen what your personnel kind of are that you're looking for, and then be able to quickly go through the list and find them if you need to. And it allows us to also verify, because one of the things I wanted to double check was which jobs were being enabled. And now from this, we can actually see that by default, all jobs and all dwarves are enabled, but they prioritize whatever they've been assigned. Oh god, pardon me. So now we know that for sure at the very least. And also I find it funny that this guy is skilled in engraving, but it's not actually enabled. Do mid. Did I actually assign... Let me actually see if I've assigned you as an engraver or not. No, I did not. You do not actually have... Let me actually give you that right now. But yeah. So yeah. So it is... at least it's available. It functions. It's not perfect, at least until they figure out a way to get the base game to stop overriding the kind of choices that you make. But it's at least semi-functional, and that's what matters. Okay. I think I was going to link that to this, because that's the only... Oh, we got miasma. Oh, yeah, we do have miasma here, because it's the refuse stockpile. And actually, one thing that I could do, since we haven't really encountered anything hostile yet, excuse me, I am definitely not feeling the greatest today, but I'm just like, you know what, screw it. The show must go on. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go up top here, because we want to keep this fortress as kind of sealed as possible. So I'm going to make use of a trick that I never mentioned before, which was, oh, we discovered another underground cave. I'm going to dig in through the surface. Oh, God. Oh, God, and we opened up directly into that. Let's, oh, geez, that's not good. Let us build a wall right away. Build a wall. Please seal that off. Oh boy, did we ever breach that cave. We breached it multiple times apparently. Please seal that. We don't want to have access to that. Oh yeah, we found the lava sea already. And I'll be making good use of that. Hey Irish, how you doing? How do I feel about the Steam version? Personally, I love it. It's not perfect, but they're working on it to kind of like, you know, add all of the things that I would even like mildly complain about. So I actually really love it. I think that from an interface standpoint, it is a major step up from vanilla Dwarf Fortress. Like, just the way that you assign jobs to dwarves is a major step up from vanilla Dwarf Fortress. Of course, it's nice that we now again have the therapist back, even though it is beta, and of course the base game currently is still overriding the therapist every now and then. But it's still, regardless, nice to have that back and be able to use that, as it is still a major improvement. Well, not a major improvement, but it's still an improvement over the default kind of system, per se. As I am able to, unlike in the game here, where I can only kind of see, well, these are the guys I have, I can't really tell when people arrived, and well, I got a migration wave. Okay, who is in the migration wave? The only way to really tell is, okay, these 6 guys that arrived that don't have a job assigned to them are the ones that arrived in the migration wave. But what's a quick and easy way, for example, if I didn't want to go through each and every single dwarf? I mean, they'll have a name saying that, hey, I'm a farmer, or I'm a, you know, a gem setter, but what other additional skills do they have? So there was no real easy way to do that, to look at that, other than to kind of go through their individual like menus to figure that out. But now I can literally go on here and sort by migration wave and be like, okay, so these 2 arrived, and one was a good miner, the other one was a gem setter. They don't really have anything in the way of military skills. They don't have any other skills, attributes, roles, or anything like that. I can take a quick look at all my animals and so on. I can also sort by a variety of different things, whether it's current job to make sure like what is, so one person is currently not doing anything. Why is that? Probably because she's assigned to only be a mason right now, or she could just be on a break, and so on. But at the very least, I can actually sort by migration wave, which to me was the most important thing that I missed from not having access to the therapist, was the losing the ability to see where my dwarves were going. Or to be able to sort by the migration wave and more easily access. Oh god. Hi. So, the reason why she's actually, I see, not doing anything is she's currently locked behind a wall. One second, let me set that as a high priority. There we go, someone's going to come down and deconstruct that so she can get the hell out of there. Hopefully we build that too as a high priority. Except this time, don't stand on the other side here when you build that, please. Thank you. And I actually got to go down now and make sure they're not going to do the same thing here. But she's probably running... Oh, let's see here. I just saw her a second ago. So she built that one, which is good. She's building this one now. And actually, let me double check here to make sure. Because I might still have my game set to 300%. Yeah, it's currently at triple speed. So let's go ahead and return that to normal. Okay, good. She's not trapping herself in this time. Now let's make sure that she actually is going to... Oh, she already did build this wall. Wow, that was fast. I mean, then again, I was at 3 times, so yeah. Would you like to manipulate something like the therapist or just be able to use the therapist easier? Personally, the therapist works really well for what it does. Because again, they don't have a way to really sort by migration wave or just anything in general. Like the best thing that, for example, would be when I had my previous fort, I found it very difficult to be able to access who was in my military and so that I could assign them the pump operating job and get them working out in my little gym that I had going. So I had to individually go through my military, essentially write down their names, go through the actual like list here and scroll through trying to find them, because I can't also, because it sorts the people in this menu by their skill. So if I go even like for this, it'll sort them by the Mason skill. So it's not necessarily sorting them by name, and I can't even sort them by name. So then I would have to scroll down through this list to try and find who I'm looking for, and then assign them to that job. And for example, if, you know, I had, if this was the guy, for example, that I had and I want to assign them to jobs, so I'd have to go like, say, mechanic. Okay, so it was this guy. But I only want him to do that. I only want him to do the pump operating. We'll call this pump operating. So now I'd have to go through and be like, especially if you have like as many as jobs as I had, in which case I had like, what is it, probably at least 12 or 13 different job types that I made custom, or work details, which means that after you go through 8 Roman numerals, it resets. So unfortunately, 8 is as high as it goes, and then it goes all the way back, and then to 1 again. So you had multiple different jobs that all had the same numerals, or same symbols, and you had to be like, oh, okay, now I got to go and disable each of these. So I got to go to minors, and like, okay, where is he? Which one was it? Was it this guy? Was it that? Which one of these was it again now that I was looking at? And it just becomes, and it was Uzol, apparently. So yeah, it just becomes a bit of a pain like that to have to go through all the menus and disable all these things individually. Whereas with the therapist, I could literally load it up and then just go, you know, where is he? Uzol. Disable that. Disable this. Enable this. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but still, you know, it's so much just easier to have this as much as it's a spreadsheet. Literally right in front of you where all of the options are there, everybody is there, and it makes life so much easier. The biggest complaint that I have, because honestly, in the beginning I had a couple issues, like not being able to hit select all for materials and have everything be designated. So there's really only like 2 major issues that I still have that I think that needs to be fixed to a point. It doesn't really, one of them's not really necessary, which is essentially that, for example, if I go BNF, which is just build floor, and select to build something here, let's build that there, and I select granite, for example. Once the number of granite, or the distance, how far away that granite is, if the granite suddenly become what that we have left over is now farther away than everything else, like for example, if I made blocks, it was selecting a specific type of block, that gets shifted all the way down. I have to scroll through all of my lists to find it again and click it. And then again, if I'm building another one, scroll through the list to pick it again. So I kind of wish that we can keep building. We have the option to use the closest material to select and keep building after placement, but we don't have an option to keep building with the same materials until the materials are gone. So that's when you kind of get a lot of patchwork, you know, things built at times, unless you're very specifically only producing one thing. My other issue that I have is, like, for example, if I'm designating this right here and I'm like, oh no, I didn't mean to click there. I didn't mean to click there to you know, dig. I want to, you know, click 2 tiles down. I can't just right click and go back 1 step and then redesignate again. I have to go all the way back down to the menu, potentially even all the way back down through the build menus again, and then redesignate it again. So right click should bring you back 1 step, not cancel the whole process. That is the one big change I really want to see, like, badly from the devs, is make sure that, You know, right click is not a, you know, like if I want to go all the way back, I can hit escape. But right click should bring you back one step. So that again, if you're designating something and you're like, whoops, then you can like redesignate it immediately rather than having to go all the way back down to this. Now, of course, I could just be like M and then OM again. But it would be so, especially when you base a control system off mouse, it's just, it makes it, like when you, like, they specifically made it so that it was, you know, very mouse controlled in a lot of ways. So I feel like that's a feature that it needs just to add more to the accessibility or the I guess the user experience of using the mouse in game. But that's the only opinion that I have here. But honestly, like, is the Steam version, like, even right now, is the Steam version worth buying? I would say hell yes. I would definitely say hell yes. If you ever enjoyed Dwarf Fortress, if you've never played it and wanted to get into it, honestly, this version is probably the best, like, the best version that I've seen. I mean, not that it's, you know, it is drastically different, so it's kind of like being the best version for new people to get in isn't really saying all that much, but yeah, it basically is, you know, the best version to really get new people in because it's a lot more visually appealing for any newcomers to come into it. The controls are a lot simpler because, again, you can do 90% of everything with literally your mouse. And, like, this whole, like, everything down here is literally just a shortcut that leads to the same menu. So if I want to go from citizens to tasks, I can literally go bam, 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 and so on. So it's... They've really... This wasn't just like a paint job. Like the Steam as much as people were like, because I remember the meme on the Steam forums was, so you guys waited 30, you guys waited 20 years to pay $30 for a game that was free, and like literally everyone on there was like I think 12 plus pages of people just saying yes, and I 100% agree. Like, why wouldn't we want to pay them for their years of hard work and all of that? Not to mention that. I mean, yes, they were getting donations for the longest time through Patreon and everything like that, but that's always a very, you know, changing kind of thing. You never really guaranteed to get, you know, what you did last month for that. And again, this is for two guys who were basically working full-time doing this. So, and not to mention they have a lot of medical expenses and such as well. That's the main reason why they were doing the Steam version, was to help pay for some of the medical expenses they had. And, you know, it's like the Steam version was a significant step up in terms of a lot of gameplay, the complete overhaul of the UI, and overhaul of a lot of systems to work with this new UI, you know, so it's like there was a lot of work that went into this version of the game. So it is definitely a massive, massive improvement. Alright, let's actually get back to, you know, playing now here. Okay, where is my... That's my ramp that leads up currently. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, the stray pulse was slaughtered. Now let me actually... Because I can actually set this up here. Alright, this is going to be my refuse stockpile here eventually. That should be sufficient. I might even have to actually floor this in with wood, so I might just do that. But yeah, the number one thing I want to see right now is, again, that right-click just goes back a single step, not completely canceling out, you know, everything that you're doing. Because there's been so many times where I was just like, ah, damn it, I freaking meant to put that one tile to the right. Now I gotta go through the whole BNL or BNF and redo it all over again. And it was just annoying as hell having to do that. It's still a bit of a minor gripe, but yeah. Honestly, there's not that much that I'm like... that I feel this is really missing. Let me repaint this. I'm going to erase half of it. Kind of keep everything off to that side as much as possible. And let's see, do I have a door currently? I do. Actually, I have many doors. Let's go ahead and build that there. And at least this time I properly put all my traps behind the trade depot, so we're not going to experience the same kind of issues that we had previously. Like how we have dense wormy tendrils in this evil area, and that's honestly it. I'm honestly very disappointed in this evil area so far, because I haven't really seen. I mean, there's carp, but that's it. Because carp used to actually like climb out on the onto the surface and kill dwarves. I agree with those points on the UI. Like, yeah, the UI is great. Like, everything is right here. It's presented fairly well. I was actually in the midst of doing a little bit of a basic tutorial on the game because a lot of people were asking for it. But I was finding I'm kind of like debating if I really do want to, finish it in a sense, because I'm going through and covering a lot of basics, but at the same time, I feel like there are people out there who have already done a lot of really, really good tutorials on the game. And I'm not 100% sure if if I can do anything better or add anything more to it other than a couple of, like the advanced tips that I did. Not to mention that I swear to God, I did like probably 40 different... Trying to actually record something to put it together and properly. I did like 40 plus takes of the thing, and it was getting to the point where I was just like, fuck it. I need to just, put it aside for a while and do something else because it was driving me batshit crazy. Alright, let's smooth these out too, so I can remove them. But that was pretty funny though. Alright, they're still down in the mines doing what they need to do there. Mostly we're waiting for another migration wave here so we get some new people in. I guess we're not really... Let me actually go into here. Go into my work details. We're making mechanisms, pots, and doors. Let's get some more stuff for that. Let's get some more beds. Let's go ahead and tweak that. So we'll say make 20 beds. We'll add, if the amount of beds is less than 10, then make beds. Okay, let's go. Wooden bins. Let's just make 30 bins. That should be good. Wooden buckets we'll do. Yeah, 10 should be good for now. Let's also go ahead and make some. Let's do like 30 rock mugs for the moment. I'm not going to tweak that any lower for the moment. Let's get some wheelbarrows. Let's say, I'm actually going to even make like 20. These are all going to be one-time orders for now. Trying to think, what else do I want to mass produce? We could probably get, get some rock coffers. Rock cabinets. These ones I will automate properly, so we'll say 30. 30 of each for now. Let's go ahead and set the conditions of if empty rock coffers is less than 10, then yeah, we can produce more. For now, that's good enough for a thing for it. Same thing for you. Okay. What else? You already got the mechanisms, pots. Oh, I know what we should get. Let's get 30. And same thing, if the amount of empty cages is less than, we'll say 20, then make 30. That should be good. And even like stuff like these work orders are much more simplified to a point. There can still be a lot of, I guess, complications to it. Like, for example, if I wanted to very specifically only brew, like if I wanted to create a work order to only brew plump helmets, I could technically-ish do that by kind of going, well, first I'd have to create a, like go into work orders, create a separate work order, and say brew from plant. Then go into here. If the amount of, and I have to go specifically, type. No, it's not type then. Material. Unrotten plump helmet plants is less than this, then, or is greater than this, whatever the case might be, then go ahead and brew it. But then I'd also have to make sure that I limited the amount of workshops that are able to brew this, and then I would have to specify that those workshops grab from a stockpile that is only containing plump helmets. And that's the only way I could really get them to specify that, because I have no way of actually specifying what type of drink to brew. But by saying, hey, brew if you have more than 10 plump helmets and only take from this stockpile of plump helmets, then that is the only way to specify, hey, only brew with plump helmets and brew constantly. Kind of deal. So it can, and technically speaking, you wouldn't even need to specify like plump helmets at all. You would just need to say, hey, just brew drinks from a plant in 2 workshops, and like 2 workshops are restricted to this work order, and have those workshops take only from that one stockpile, which would be for the plump helmets. And they would basically only brew with that. That's the only real way to kind of specify them for that. So it still takes some stockpile management. I love that we have a necromancer. That's just the funniest thing. That's the only like good thing that's happened so far in this evil fort, is that we have a necromancer and her husband. So I don't know what kind of wacky hijinks they're going to get up to, but I'm expecting some kind of wacky hijinks. Alright, let's actually go ahead and dig this out right here, and I can start, oh, that's the literal top of the map, so I guess we're going to have to get some additional stuff kind of set up around here then. We'll have to have our main kind of, because this is all clay, I think. Yeah, silty clay. We'll have to have our main section around here. Okay. Let me actually go ahead and set this up as the meeting area. And this is actually going to be the dining area. Let me extend that even further here so I get all the edges. Except, no, we'll just leave it as a meeting area for now. Actually, we'll put it as the dining hall. Furniture, tables. I do not care which tables are being used, only that you make use of them. Build furniture, chairs, use the closest materials. There we go, that should make them nice and happy, is the hope and dream. And not to mention that there's already like a pretty good assortment of mods for this as well. There we go, it should be good. Like how he went all the way down there. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and establish their usual kind of like hovels. They're not going to get any fancy treatment this time around. I also like the fact that you can plan your fortress in blueprint mode here, for example, so I can enable that. I can do all of this, and then whenever I feel like it, I can change whatever section I want into an active build mode, or an active build request. There we go. So I can just go ahead and design. I can literally stay paused at the beginning once I have an idea of the area, what the area has for me. Design out the whole fortress. And then just allow it to complete itself. There we go. Which is just fantastic. Like, for example, I can just, let me go ahead and, like, I'll have all of this. Let me convert all this over. So I'll convert that and allow them to at least start on that. And then I'll go ahead and get the rest of this kind of, like, set up. And then once I have a demand for it, I can open this up. That one I can't do, because that'll breach the cave. Oh, I really wasn't even gonna stream this today because I kind of feel like shit today, which is weird because I just got off work not that long ago, but now I'm just like, oh god, why am I dying? Possibly because one of my coworkers was also not feeling that great, so that might be what's kind of screwing me a little bit right now. But whatever. I'll pop some stuff and take a nap later. I'm sure I'll be fine. Is the hope and dream. Because we gotta be doing good for Cataclysm tomorrow. Can't miss any Cataclysm. That would be the end of the world as we know it. Not to mention, I actually am really liking some of the additional stuff. And actually, I haven't even really gotten to a lot of the additional stuff in Cataclysm. Although, I do like some of the changes that I've seen. Like the fact that if you spawn in on an island, whether it's an island prison or whatever the case might be, you're not just screwed over and, oh great, now I managed to survive getting through the, say, for example, again, the prison, and now I have to drop all of the gear that I collected so I can swim to shore. Unless I happen to have, picked up some swimming skill when I first started and can do that in full gear. But again, as you're swimming, you're going to be using up stamina anyway, so it's kind of a hope and dream that you'll even make it to shore. So I don't think you want to take the chance that you're going to not make it. There should also be, like, the eraser tool should be attached to, like, the end of it, because this doesn't get rid of that. The eraser tool should be added to this as well, so I don't have to clear out of this menu. Or even, like, attach it right next to this one. So I don't have to clear out of this menu to go and erase things. Like, it's one thing having this separate so I can just, like, oh, hey, I feel like erasing this without having to go into any other menu, and then bam. But it's another thing when you just don't bother to include it. Because it's better to have more accessibility than less accessibility. Although, of course, you do want to also make sure that you're not cluttering things too much. So you gotta, it's one of those, it's a difficult balancing situation where you have to make sure that it's accessible as possible, but it's not, like, overwhelming you with a million buttons everywhere. So you gotta still avoid clutter to a point. I like how I'm assuming that we're gonna get this many dwarves in here. All it's gonna take is one skeleton showing up and defeating my my hammerer to just wipe us out. And I can see something's popping up there. Hey, Rolling Odie, welcome, mate. UX design is hard. Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, user experience design is always a difficult thing, because it's like, how do I balance this well? And at the same time, how do I filter out actual issues from shit that might not be real issues to a point? Like, people are very vocal in their complaints about a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their complaints are entirely valid. Till I started playing games on the Steam Deck's small screen, yeah, fuck. I really wish I had a Steam Deck, but I can't afford that right now. But yeah, no, 100%, like, so much. And again, there's a lot of, like, work that people put in to a lot of things that they don't necessarily get much appreciation for until later. Steam Deck's great, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's complicated. Oh yeah, some of it can be. I haven't seen too much about it, because again, I was like avoiding the temptation. Yeah, I can actually go like this. That should be okay. Most of it has to do with Proton. True. Very true. But there's also a lot that you can do with it. I mean, obviously, one of the main thing a lot of people are using it for is obviously emulation, which is a hot topic in and of itself. A lot of people are for it, some are against it. A lot of companies are against it at times. But it's like, I've always been on the side of things where it's like, if you are not giving me a way that I can go out and buy something, whether it's through your online store or some other fashion similar to that, then why are you fighting us having access? Especially, it's like, if I buy a copy of a game, I should always have access to that game. I have a couple of games that plainly don't work well at all, but that's a deal breaker for a lot of folks. It really depends, because I know that, wasn't there like 7,000 games recently that were made playable for the Steam Deck? I could have swore I saw something like that recently in a news article. Or 7,000 new games were added as playable. And again, playable doesn't necessarily mean, oh, it runs like a dream. But, you know, you're not going to be running like Cyberpunk at max settings. It's the big games that generally don't make the cut. Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not going to run Cyberpunk or Doom Eternal on max settings on something like that. It is still a handheld device, and it is limited by its a lot of its internals. You can squeeze 30 FPS out of Cyberpunk, though, surprisingly. That's actually pretty damn good. That is impressive. I mean, but then again, what? Yay, it's spring! Huzzah! But I wonder what's the actual like graphical settings that you have to have run Cyberpunk on in order to get that 30 FPS. Oh yeah, exactly. Like I've seen. Of course, it's completely unrealistic, but I saw what the frickin' what is it called? Linus did with the Steam Deck they had, where they like opened the whole thing up. They added a giant ass radiator onto the back. They added like massive amounts of storage and, you know, all this other crazy shit they do. And actually, the one like major thing, like plus that you have to give to the Steam Deck and to Valve is how moddable they made it. Where they were basically just like, you know, how so many consoles and so many developers are like, no, don't touch our console, don't open our console. If you do, you void your warranty. Where Steam was like, yeah, sure, no, open it up, mod it all you want, you know, do whatever. Hell, we'll provide you the kits to do so. You want to swap out your, you know, thumbsticks and all that shit? Here you go. Here's all the parts to do it. You know, I freaking love that. I absolutely love that they were, you know, setting that kind of a precedent with that, where they're like, you know what? Hey, if you want to do that with this, go right ahead. WRC Generations. WRC Generations. Won't start all do supporting new libraries. The Proton doesn't support yet. But the one good thing with that, though, is that a lot of that support is still coming down the line. Like, Valve is adamant that they will get as many games as absolutely possible working on that platform, which is pretty damn good. My whole thing as well is, like, I hope that it's upgradable to the point where down the line they can even have like almost a mini PC to a point where they can have more powerful like hardware that you can shove into it, and then maybe just have an extended cable. As much as that would make it more bulky, you know, have it be able to work like that. But I'm not sure how that, if they would be forced to put out a new version that's more powerful, or if they could make it moddable in such a way to make it more powerful but more bulky. It's still coming down the line, sure, but in the meantime, we're not playing the one game your buds are playing. Yeah, that's the thing, too. It always sucks to be in that position, but it's always one of those things where it's like, any mobile device is never usually your number one, like, device for gaming or stuff in general. It's just, hey, if I'm, you know, on the bathroom for the next, like, 30, 40 minutes, or, you know, whatever the case, like, I'm out of the office, or out of out of town, this is something that allows me to still continue to take my stuff with me so that I can load up my save and keep, you know, playing on the go. So, it's not necessarily meant to be, you know, what's the word am I looking for? Meant to be something that's gonna, you know, replace your computer. It's just kind of like, you know, hey, your game's on the go where you need it, in a sense. Oh, shoot, I deleted that. I deleted my stockpile. Oh, boy. That was not my intention. Okay, that's going to be my wood stockpile. It's 100% get all my wood down here. Yep, exact. That's 100% it. You got to accept before you buy a Steam Deck that this is not going to replace your PC. You know, this is not something where you're just like, well, I guess I can say screw, you know, I'm going to throw this $3,000 PC out the window and play this, you know, $600, you know, bit of hardware since it can play everything. It's like, yeah, that's not going to work. I mean, and the same thing can be said, honestly. That's why, you know, PC Master Race, in a way, has always been a thing. Where it's like, as much as PC hardware does go out of date in a relatively quick-ish fashion, consoles go out faster. Not to mention that it's like, let me go ahead and put furniture in this, actually. Where's my, if I'm not going too crazy here. Blah, 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 blah. There we go, furniture. But yeah, it's like, if you buy a console, that console is only going to be able to do, you know, play whatever's on that console, and you're not going to be able to, you can't really enhance your console much, unless you know, fork out another $600 down the line and buy a pro version or something. Oh, God, yeah, the Nintendo Switch, you're not getting a download and play kind of experience all the time. Yeah, that's the thing, it's like, and that's, I'm not sure, I'd have to think back to the marketing for the Steam Deck if it was something that was, like, overpromised in its features, or if they were still very measured and, like, open about what it could and couldn't do. I don't think they've been, I mean, there was even, if you're a Wumbo nerd like me and tinkering with stuff, it's a perfect little do. I mean, hell, I watched Some Ordinary install freaking Windows 98 or 5, was it 95? On the Steam Deck. Just because he could. And it was a freaking process to do it. And it was just to play, like, an original Windows 95 game on the original freaking, like, you know, operating system. Which was ridiculous to do, and it was done just for the sake of doing it. But I still love the fact that he managed to do it and succeeded in doing it, even if it operated like crap. Still. Not to mention it was hilarious the fact that it, because it was simulating, because it was like a simulation to simulation, and it was, the way that the simulation, you know, simulating installing the OS worked was, it installed at the same rate, because it was simulating old hardware, that the old Windows 95 install would have installed at. So it took a while. It takes a while to install that. It was just hilarious to see that. Like, imagining that running, like, it would install in like 1 second now, or two, you know, like a short amount of time. But back then it was like, no, it was a process. And it was not necessarily as easy. But yeah, that was some funny stuff to watch, even if it was kind of like ridiculous and why would you do this, I still found it absolutely hilarious. Yep. Oh, Dwarf is visiting too. They'll probably petition me to join the fortress here. This is always the best thing too, especially in a, it's somewhat helpful in that you have free defenders for your fort when they show up and decide to stick around your fortress. But the downside being that, let me get all these placed here. The The downside being that, considering this is an undead biome, if they die in that area, then they're going to become undead and lead to some unfortunate issues. They haven't built any cabinets yet. Okay. I really need more migrants, honestly. That's really what I need at the moment here. And there's the petition. He wants to join our fortress for the purpose of eradicating monsters. Sure, why not? Where are they actually running off to anyway? I know they're running up here, but what are they actually doing right now? This gem cutter has nothing to do currently. What jobs do you currently have? Your only job is to build. Let me give you hauling as well then at the very least. It's not that people don't play adventure mode, it's that it's not available yet. Welcome, Funa. But yeah, like if I go into, well, I'd have to create a new world, but it basically says adventure mode is coming soon. So they're still working on it. They're healthy for now. We'll see what happens later. Oh, we're out of drinks. That's not good. Then again, we're probably also out of plump helmets right now. Let me take a look here. We're good on seeds. Oh, we're definitely very good on seeds. We even have a bunch of other plants I can potentially do. But, no, we got 27 plants we could use. So we can still brew. It's just potentially the reason might be that my... What are you doing right now, Lorbum? Okay. Well, let me restrict you to those jobs anyway, because I really need you to be doing that right now. I think what am I going... Here's another thing I'm going to do here quickly. Let's create a small section right here. Foods. Plants. Plump helmets. Don't want to see Bar Fortress? I mean, technically, the fungal floor here kind of looks like they had a whole barfing session going on, but you know, they're actually perfectly fine. One thing interesting about the Steam Decks are the works great on Steam ratings. And why? In that they're accurate or that they're not accurate? They don't account for updates and because some of their requirements. Ah, I see. So there could be an update that breaks something that it's not, I guess, addressing. Oops. ENL. Select material after placement. I would argue binding a mouse to a joystick isn't a great experience. Oh, Age of Empire 2 HD makes it on the list even though it's all mouse controlled. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because, yeah, that I could imagine that being, like, very not convenient. Because, yeah, like, for example, Dwarf Fortress as well was also very... like, even this version is very mouse controlled, so... It would be very challenging to play this using the Steam Deck unless, yeah, you'd have to do there'd have to be a lot of finagling to create a on-screen mouse input for it. These are already perfectly sealed off. I don't need to worry about that. Oh yes, another petition. Yes, go ahead and reside here for the purpose of eliminating monsters. Thank you very much. Like for lots of games, you got to play the game beforehand to get an idea of how exactly the controller support is. And I'm sure that... I wonder if there's... Let me take a look here quickly. Controllers. Games that can be controlled entirely with a controller. Because it could be, like, I'm looking at my dynamic collections here, and I can create a dynamic collection where hardware support has full controller support. So you can always look through a list of games for that. Let me actually check the store page as well. Let's see if I can, let me just pull up, see if I can search in the actual thing here for games with full controller support. Which would be like, I would say, yeah, controller friendly. Is there anything on here that I think is, like, questionable for controller friendly? Possibly, but, yeah. I suppose it would take some finagling one way or the other. Hey, Voron, how's it going, mate? Having touchpads on the screen, touchscreen makes those specific instances more tactile, though. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's definitely packed with features, that thing. Most definitely. And with its modability, that can only get better. Oh, another dwarf is missing. I swear to God. I don't even have a bar yet. Like, what the heck are you people coming here for? Also, what is my woodcutter doing right now? I think it's because I also don't have... Let me replace that job here. Water hauling, push haul vehicles, burial. Also enable wood crafting as well. Okay, so wood chopping itself is already, like, specific to this, so there's no other way for me to enable that. Interesting. Let me disable his stone cutting as well. Yes, Happy New Year to you as well, mate. Got me one of those cheapo Bluetooth keyboards with a trackpad so I could do laptop stuff, more so because typing on the Steam Deck and touchpad is a miserable experience. Yeah, I imagine so. And I imagine as well, like, you could have the Bluetooth keyboard, but you could also, like, create an attachment for the Steam Deck itself that would allow it to basically, like, clap onto your keyboard, making that even more easier to a point. I imagine there might even be something like that. Let me... Yeah, there's already, like, mounts for the Steam Deck that you can, like, clamp onto something. So it's nice to see, like, the amount of stuff that's available for that. Indeed. Have they actually built any cabinets yet? They built one single cabinet. How about chests? We at least got, two chests. We're very slowly getting there. We just don't have enough dwarves. No, we haven't had any funny rains. We haven't had any clouds going through. Honestly, this has been a really boring, evil biome. Like, I don't even have any undead that have shown up. I mean, we finally have hungry heads, but those are just like in the cave layer, which is, it's not unusual to see those. Like, let me center our, yes, 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 don't show me again. Let me center on the fort. Because I don't think it's going to show up on here, but this, I'm pretty sure this was even a terrifying biome, but it's not really, it's not blowing my mind at all. Sable stone. Sable wood. Okay. Oh boy. I'm making that an important task. Oh, how's he doing, by the way? He's been pumping away here, so he's already slow to tire. That's good. Keep on pumping on, my friend. There are some interesting entries. Stray Polt was slaughtered. I need to keep prioritizing that task. A human lasher is visiting too. Hey, thank you for the follow there, or the subscription, you fabulous fellow. Much appreciated, mate. And now you get access to all the fabulous things that I had out on there. I'm going to keep prioritizing this because I really want... Oh, God. The Necromancer just butchered the Polt. I don't know if I should be afraid. Is she now going to take the poor thing somewhere and make use of it? I don't know. Hey, looks all welcome. Yes, I approve of you staying in my fortress as free military labor against any monsters. Come on down. Let's see. City Skylines is a great on-the-deck game, as well as one with full controller support. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Another... Oh my god. Like, I expect these guys to be showing up when I build, like, a tavern, but they're just showing up now, just out of the blue, simply because I've unlocked the cavern layer in mass. Oh, boy. Chivalry 2. Yeah, Chivalry 2 I could definitely see. Squad, Insurgency, Sandstorm, yep. Yeah, definitely FPS games, yeah. With no aim assist for controllers. Ooh, that would be interesting. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on aim assist. Aim assist is necessary for anybody playing with a controller. However, it can also be taken a little bit too far, as we saw with a lot of the Warzone stuff. Yeah, that was interesting. That was very interesting. They still haven't bothered to come up here and deal with this at all. Oh well, I guess he's too busy doing other things. Hopefully we get, there's another Polt down. Another Polt bites the dust. Because I need to get rid of all the male Polts before we get, even more of them spawned here. Because they weren't grabbing the eggs quick enough. Because we don't have enough dwarves to do the hauling tasks for that. So I'm trying to get rid of them while I can. Because now we have more than enough turkeys that we don't need to worry about not having enough eggs. So I definitely do not want... Oh god, we still have more. Even more of them. Oh god, we can't kill them fast enough. You know what? This is taking too long. Let's get a... Let's get a lever. Build a bridge. I'm just gonna have to Atom Smash some guys. Hopefully it'll let me. I'm not sure if it'll actually. But I can't assign them to that until I make sure I raise the bridge up. He wants to reside here for the purpose of eradicating monsters. Sure, come on down. Even though I literally have no monsters, I'm very disappointed in this evil biome. Very disappointed. No, this was the first area I basically came into because the caravan was out here. And I quickly dug down into the ground as you're supposed to do with an evil biome. And, you know, got everything kind of just shoved in here real quick. Haha. Just use a trackball as a mouse. I have actually done that before. It was very awkward for the longest time, but it actually wasn't that bad eventually. Buds drag me in Arma 3 and the like from time to time. Yeah, that's definitely a game that would not work on the not work well on the Steam Deck because there's so many controls. That's like a game that necessitates a keyboard. Although with the new version with Arma 4, at least what they're trying to do with it, they are trying to make it work decently well on a controller. As we're seeing with Arma 3 Reforged. Or Arma Reforged, I should say. Although I wonder how that's going, because again, that was literally a beta to test features, and that's it. It's not really even meant to be a game in and of itself that is, well, maintained over time. And they kind of, you know... A lot of fans were disliking that, and a lot were just like, you know what, this exists for modders, it exists for people to test features, and that is all. So... Yada yada yada. But still. Yeah, no, I've actually, like... I mean, literally, let me pull up Arma 3 here for a hot second. Let's see, because I joined a community after, you know, because I hadn't played Arma 3 in a long time. And in the period of a year... can I actually see can I see a history of this, of my playtime on this, I wonder? I don't know if I can see my history on this. No, I don't think so. But I went, in the period of about 1 year, or, well, I'd say maybe a year and a half to 2 years, I went from having maybe a couple hundred hours in Arma 3 to now, let me see if I can, well, I'm not going to bother. 1,942 hours. 1,942.8 hours in Arma 3. Literally, let me... Let me slap that in here. Where did that sucker go? There it is. Boom. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. There's a lot of really good faction war mods. Play as the civilians, get shot from two sides at once. Yeah, I've done, like, Liberation, I've done, Anti-Stasi, I've done a whole bunch of those. I actually really love those game modes, to be honest. And, there have been a lot of really, really good ones to that as well. Yeah, I remember I actually had a video as well. I've had a couple of glitch videos, too. I actually do miss them a little. I really should go back and play some of that. Play another round or something with them for a bit. There's also like nice little cooperative things like Bulwark is one. Although I wish the zombies version was actually not buggy as hell, but unfortunately it is. But Bulwark is a fun little game mode where you essentially have to build up a little like reinforced position and defend it against waves and waves of enemies and vehicles and such. One of my most played games on Steam is MapleStory 2 of all things. I'm pretty sure Arma 3 is my number one, is my most played game. Let me sort by hours if I can. Games, filter by playtime. Yeah. Arma 3 is my number one. Shockingly enough, number 2 is Stronghold Kingdoms, back when I actually played that, and I have 644 hours on that, but I'm pretty sure that was just, you know, because I was also, yeah, I don't even know why I have that many hours on that at all. After that's RimWorld, 350 hours, 315 for 7 days. Natural Selection 2, I have 308. X4 is 274. Kerbal, 270. And of course, if I had the original, like, if X3 was originally on Steam and not just, you know, through disc and all their own thing, I would have, like, probably even surpassing Arma 3 on there. Arma 3 vids are brilliant to fall asleep with. I suppose it depends. Yeah, it was an okay game, at least until, you know, people were basically all using the exact... Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, huh? Excuse me? Did I read that right? Snos Smozoxor? Huh? A plump helmet man hammerman is visiting my fortress. Okay. Interesting. He has no vision, obviously. He's a plump helmet man. He's essentially the plump helmet man from D&D. He communicates via telepathic spores. He is literally a living plump helmet that walks and talks. Well, talks-ish. Through, you know, lovely telepathic spores. Indeed. Mushroom Mans. It's the Mushroom Man, Hammerman. What is he even wielding? He has a silver warhammer, a bronze shield. He's covered in bronze armor. Yet the primary food source of the dwarves is now coming to hang out and defend the fortress. We are literally brewing alcohol out of his kin, and he is coming to exist in this fortress. Where's the befriend? He's literally gonna petition us to let him stay here. Oh, the fortress attracted no migrants this season. That's unfortunate. How you doing, man? And actually, let's take a quick look at him again. I want to take another look at him. Oh, that's... Wait, what? We have artifacts? Oh, I see. We actually do have multiple artifacts here. That's because the, some people brought them with them, maybe? Interesting. Probably, I think these guys actually brought some artifacts with them. Let's take a look at you. Humanoid resembling a walking mushroom with arms and legs, lives far underground near the water and soil. He is mighty. He is very rarely sick and tough, so he's actually pretty strong. Recent thoughts, memory, personality. He has the ability to focus. He has a questionable spatial sense, little willpower, poor creativity, little neutral inclination towards music. He truly treasures the company of others. He never envies others' status, situations, or possessions. He actually avoids exciting or stressful situations. He is dour as a rule. He is unfriendly and disagreeable. Pleased by his own appearance and talents. Likes to keep things practical without delving too deeply into the abstract. Has a tendency towards forming deep emotional bonds with others, even though he's unfriendly and disagreeable. Tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals. Tends to avoid any physical confrontations, even though he's a plump helmet hammerman. Can occasionally lose focus on the matter at hand, doesn't cling tightly to ideas, and is open to changing his mind. Not particularly interested in what others think of him, even though he has a tendency... What was the other one there? He is pleased with his own appearance. Sometimes acts with little determination and confidence. He is grateful when others help him and tries to return favors, even though he is disagreeable and grumpy. Finds helping others emotionally rewarding. That's funny. You gotta love the details they put into every single character. Even though a lot of the times, like, these are 90% the same, I have no idea how Plump Helmet Men reproduce. I would assume through the same telepathic spores that they spread to communicate. Now, the one thing I'm, like, interested in is he's gonna be drinking, like, in the fortress with whatever we have. But does that mean he's actually going to drink, you know, what we have available? Okay, I need to get, where can I build this? I could probably do it right here, actually. That would do. So I'm actually going to create the tavern down here. And all of the rooms associated with said tavern. And actually, I'm also going to, while I'm at it, do I want to shrink that down more so I can give more access to this guy? I could do that. Yeah, let's shrink this down a little bit. I'll have it focus more in this kind of direction as well. So I can extend this. This is going to be our hospital, and this is going to be our tavern. So we'll have the bar area back here, as well as the well. And we'll still have this dug down like so. And I need to make sure that this will also extend over here. Because the one thing I've got to make sure... And actually, wait a minute, because I have to... The one thing I got to make sure of... is that we have a wall grate here. So I'll have to dig into here temporarily. And ironically enough, there's already... Oh, it's because it's an upward slope, not a downward slope. That's why. Okay. So once I get a wall grate here, I can channel this out. And actually, another thing I could potentially do is let's... why don't we triple up? That moment you combine a chat AI with art AI creates races and their fluff. Yeah, there's a lot of sketchy stuff really happening with some of the AI. Yeah, that looks like it's connected to the outside. Let's triple task this then as well. Let's make a fishing area. Ah, excuse me. So that being the case, let me eliminate this again. Alright, we're still going to create this, but we're going to have it branch off here, to which will be the, whoops, helps if I actually get rid of that connection there. Okay, we'll have a fishing area here. And I'll have that continue on to here, which will allow us to have our bar slash tavern set up around here. Which is ironic because they're going to spend all their time in the actual tavern and not in the... let me pull that back slightly. I'll extend it down here so we have an area for them to perform. Let me actually, let's even erase this and I'll extend that over here some. There we go, that'll be good. Now, trying to create as many rooms as possible here. So that'll be good to start with, I guess. Bit of an awkward as hell tavern, but it'll do. We actually had a whole campaign around that as well, which was kind of funny. That was the, what was it? Out of the Abyss, that was the one. Which is funny, too, because we had just gotten to the point in that where we were, encountering one of the, demon gods or something like that, and, then unfortunately that ended. And much sadness from that. Let's go ahead and create a meeting area here. I'll have to wait until they actually dug it out completely. Alright. Add so much background lore. I hope future... Spites modding options make it easier to change them based on description. In a lot of ways, that kind of does that. I mean, you can add like you can add different races. There's already different mods out for different races. Like, let me go on to the actual clear out Arma 3 workshop. Let me sort by race. Snailing race, there's the Skaven race. We got Merfolk race, Gnolls, Naga, Ratfolk, Enrins, Exithid, basically the insect race. All races controllable is an option. Stella Elves, we got Age of Man. So there's already a lot here. Actually, I was looking at the, wasn't it... For some reason, the Dark Age mod got removed, I think. I wasn't able to find it. Oh, no, it got re-added. So, Dark Age 5, War and Mythos, which adds a high horror world, lots of monsters, cryptids, extreme undead, curses, magic spells, pets, and such. Honestly, I think maybe I should really do a run of that here next. Because that just sounds really awesome. I've never played that one. What are you wrecking today? Honestly, not much. Like, this is, I mean, the most interesting thing that's happened in this evil biome is I have a necromancer dwarf in my fort, and now a plump helmet man hammerer has arrived at my fortress, who I am hoping will join the fortress and help us in glorious combat. Now, let me actually go ahead and create quickly here. Well, that's weird. I wonder why it played that sound effect. I might want to take a look in the area here quickly. Let's get a grate here quickly. I'll prioritize that. Others. No, there's no undead. We got a Draltha, whatever the heck that is. A large, long-bodied grazer with a thick mane that feeds on the tops of tower cap mushrooms deep under the earth. She is mighty. Incredibly muscular, yellow hair. So it's basically an underground horse, I guess. Yeah, we've been kind of going crazy talking about Mushroom Men and mods and other games and all kinds of shenanigans. So yeah, yeah, there he is. Snos Smorzuxor, Smuixor Roar. I can't even. I'm not even gonna attempt it. But that's just yeah, the Plump Helmet Hammerman. That reminds me of the last like non-Steam version fort I had, where my tavern was apparently so freaking popular that it became the cultural center of the entire like world, and like literally every bard and scholar in the world was showing up in my fortress to hang out in my bar. And it was to the point where I even had goblin bards were showing up to perform in my bar. It was like, okay. I'm not gonna say anything about this. Actually, let me cancel this one right here. Okay, want to go build. Well, we probably have to wait a little bit still. Build, construction. We need a wall grate. Still waiting on the grate. So by channeling out an area underground next to a source and building a wall grate and then channeling on the other side of it, and essentially making it so that the only way to access this area is through the wall grate, you are essentially making it so that I haven't been on the server in a couple of days actually. I kind of got really sucked into Elden Ring. It's kind of consumed me a little bit. But yeah. But anyway, by making sure that the only way into your fortress is blocked by that grate, nothing will be able to break in to your fort. So any forgotten beasts or any water-based invaders like what we had last time won't be able to get in here, and yet we will still be able to fish and gain access to all the fun stuff from that. I got Factorio and Dyson Sphere. I just don't have the time to play them. Most definitely shouldn't play Factorio on weekdays. Yeah, Factorio was good. Dyson Sphere was interesting, but I'm not sure how I feel about the newest addition to Dyson Sphere, which was the enemy AI that you can face now. As much as, like, for example, Satisfactory, I thought, hey, a base defense would be great for this. I'm kind of like, eh. I haven't touched the new version, though? Yeah, me neither. That's why I was like, since they updated that, I haven't touched it, so I can't really say much about whether it's good or not. But I'm not sure how I feel about it, I'll say. No power, restoring it now? Oh, yeah. No, I actually, that was an issue that I forgot to fix, was that... Oh, my nose, I'm dying. The power systems had shut down. It's because... The issue is, since the server is running constantly, items get produced up to their maximum amount, and then backlog the whole system, which means that the fuel stops producing, which stops powering the fuel generators, and then they just run out of anything resembling power, or they can no longer generate power because they're backlogged on resources. Yeah, it might be a better idea to turn that setting off, because otherwise, it's very difficult to regulate the power on a constantly running server. Unless we were to upgrade up to like nuclear reactors and such, then that would be different. But right now, it's very difficult to regulate that properly. All right, let's go wall grate. There we go. And then I can channel it from above once they clear all this out of here. And let me actually go... Let me go right here for a hot second. Let's build ourselves a garbage dump. Let's start dumping. Same thing here. Let's just start getting all this dumped. And all that beautiful rock will be hauled to the dump stock pile. Let me go ahead and give everybody Or at least some of the new people some hauling. Let's just globally give everybody hauling. And let them get to work on that. Yeah, kind of, but the problem is that it's like, because I was trying to get the system working again, but because the backlog is so bad, it's like you need power generation to get the system running, but the system won't run because everything is backed up, and even if you clear out the backlog, it's just, it needs time to generate that, but you need the power, which is kind of been canceled out by the backlog. So it's like you need to really flush out the whole system to get everything running again. Which I'll probably get to at some point if I can get over my complete and utter addiction to Elden Ring right now. I swear. I have to say, it's like, what's the word I'm going for here? I absolutely love the amount, like the sheer amount of mini bosses in that game. Where it's like, yeah, you have your oh god, I'm building walls, not floors. I need to build floors. I feel silly. Yeah, the amount of like just bosses that you can run into in that game is freaking like massive, but obviously very difficult because I've gotten my ass kicked multiple places. Oh, let's see. Nah. I want the Plum Helmet Man to stay. I want the Plum Helmet Man to petition us. Alright, let's get... this is going to be a fishing zone. Let's go ahead and dig a channel here. Zones. Fishing. Accept. Meeting area. Accept. Assign as a new hospital. Let's get another meeting area. Accept new area. This is going to be the inn/tavern. Use the closest material. I don't necessarily care. Might actually have to build some hatches as well for that other thing. Oh, round of doors. Furniture, beds. Let's get a couple of beds placed, assuming we have that many. And then I will assign... Looks like we need to build a bunch more beds. I will assign these to be linked to the tavern itself. Settlers 2 in the Roots fan version. Nice. But yeah, no. And the funny thing is, too, it's like, I'm not exactly, as we saw previously with the, my kind of one-off stream of Elden Ring, I'm not exactly skilled at it, to say the least. But it was still fun to do. Even as a one-off, it was definitely fun diving into that. Alright, where am I going to put the, I'll leave this section down here as kind of the dance area. Let's create some stockpiles here. This is for finished goods. We need musical instruments. Goblets, that's what I'm looking for. That should be fine. Don't care what material they're made out of, or what their qualities are. Okay. Let's create another new stockpile back here. Actually, you know what? Let's, actually, we'll make another one as well. So we'll go food, prepared meals, accept, and this one's going to be food Drinks. Alright. And we're out of tables and chairs right now, so I'll have to tweak that further. Oh, which one haven't you run yet, Quinn? Became a carpenter. Oh god, they still haven't built this either. Ugh. Elden Ring? Well, you're in for a hell of a ride, that's for sure. It is definitely a game that will 100% kick your butt and apologize for nothing. But I love the open world side of things and the fact that you can kind of run around and explore however you want to a point. You are kind of gatekeeped in a way, in the sense that, you know, you need to pass through certain bottlenecks or certain points to get in to the other area. But it's like one thing that happened to me was, and I don't know if this was meant to happen or not, was I climbed up into a tower called the Tower of Return, and I opened up a chest that turned out to be trapped. It was a teleport trap. And it teleported me directly to the capital. And to a kind of a mini-boss area in the capital. Well, it wasn't even a mini-boss. It was literally just like a golem in the area. And I was basically trapped in that one little section because there was a lever there that I was unable to pull because I probably had not activated it down below. Because you have to at least activate a lift once usually before you can actually activate, you know, the switch to it. And because I hadn't previously activated it, I was unable to leave that area. So I was basically forced to teleport out. But the fact that it teleported me all the way to the capital, I was like, was it supposed to do that? Or is the teleport trap just randomly teleport you to a location somewhere in the world? Because I also found a little portal stone or whatever that also had like a random teleport to it, and it sent me to the academy essentially, and or at least the academy city. And I was like, yeah, I mean that should have been called the Tower of Regret. I mean, it definitely lived up to that because I was like, oh god, I'm already in the capital. Oh god, why am I in the capital? Everything here is gonna murder me in 1 second. I'm probably about to get, you know, shot by some giant in a tower somewhere with a gigantic bow. Luckily that didn't happen, but still. A human mace man is visiting. I'm still kind of sad that the plump helmet man hasn't asked to be part of the fortress yet. Here we go. Let me go ahead and get these established here. Bedrooms, multi, yoink. 8 bedrooms will be created. Done. Beautiful. I love doing that. And they still haven't built the carpenter's workshops. Yeah, they are slacking. They are slacking. And actually, it did... oh, no, it said we weren't getting any migrants this year. That's what it was. Ah, okay. Have we had anything interesting at all show up, though? Other than, of course, the plump helmet man. No. Yeah, no, I'm honestly very disappointed by this, what the hell's it called? This evil biome. There hasn't really been an evil fog, there hasn't been an evil... It hasn't rained elf blood, like, nothing. A bard is now visiting, apparently. To come see my tavern, which is literally empty and full of stones right now. You know what? I just want... let me go ahead, because we have nobody... Are they currently not doing anything? No, they are. I'll let you continue to do that. Because I want you guys to just haul for a while. Yeah, just haul. Get all this rock out of here. And actually, let me go ahead and crank the game to 300% too. Right, let's even go further. Let's say 500. I want these guys to be sonicking their way around here. Listening to stories. Got a bunch of monster slayers there. One thing I'm wondering now is... because it could be... I'm like, is garbage hauling under something else? Cleaning, maybe. Let's see if that does it, maybe. Because maybe it's under... maybe dumping is under cleaning. Let that run for a little bit. Planet Falls, also a fairly cruel game. Tilts me to no end with the ways it can just annoy me. AOW Planet Fall. Not sure which one that is. Let's see here. Oh, Age of Wonders. Yeah, no, 100%. That is actually, you know what, I love that it's a 4X game in a way, and that it has so much, like, complexity to it, with its story and everything else, though. Because it kind of felt like I was playing a 4X game as well as an RPG to a point. But yeah, 100%, I can definitely get your the annoyance part of that one there. But yeah, I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to... Wow, look at them go. Yeah, now they're hauling. So it was cleaning, apparently. Unless they literally have nothing to do now. I can't tell. I honestly can't tell if they're actually cleaning that up or if they're just being annoying. But yeah, I'm not sure if I want to continue with this one, because for an evil biome, like, this isn't really evil biome madness when nothing evil is happening. So I'm kind of torn if I want to continue this one, or if I want to kind of, you know, install the Dark Ages 5 or whatever pack, and give that pack a try, and maybe even go for like a glacial biome on that. Although I might do a normal one just to start with, just so I get an idea of the pack itself. Are they lazing around right now? No, not really lazing. I mean, obviously all the monster slayers and all that are currently relaxing, but still. It's the most interesting game I've played in the genre, but the AI will go out of their way to spite you. And that's always, honestly, that is the biggest weakness of any, like, 4X RTX, or not, yeah, yes. Well, RTX in a way for that. Like, Civilization is a great example where the diplomacy, or even, like, the Total War to a point, where the diplomacy kind of sucks. A lot. God, I remember... makes me remember Total War Rome 2, where they were touting how their AI is like so good that it's, you know, just like facing another human, and it's such amazing AI, and I had to crank that shit up to legendary difficulty on day one just to have the most minor challenge, because I was steamrolling every single AI with absolute just ease. Also, it kind of sucks that, you know, our pet population has kind of got out of control here, too. And I'm not sure if I can actually rein them in or not. So that might be another reason to, say to hell with this fortress and move on to the Dark Age and give that a try. Also, they're really just not hauling the stones, are they? No, they are. They're just taking forever. And also, I'm kind of sad that the Plump Helmet Man is not joining the fortress. Total War had good AI. That must have been April's Fool joke. Yep. Yep. It's like, I've yet to see a single one of those that has actually had, good AI to a point. Like, even with Warhammer, it was always like... Oh, how can I phrase this? I want my AI to be a challenge, but I don't want AI to cheat. Because the way that a lot of developers make their AI challenging isn't in, creating an algorithm that allows them to act and react in a very human way. It's by giving them free resources. Or lowering their time to kind of spawn stuff. Like, I remember with the first Total War, I would wipe out an orc army. I wouldn't be able to, mostly wipe out an orc army. I wouldn't be able to chase it. I'd retreat and kind of, deal with my casualties, no migrants again. And then they would be back in 2 turns with another max, stack army. Because they just managed to revive like that. And it's like, no, that's not fun. Love playing Empire, but sieges are basically sit in the corner of the map and just pelt them to death with chemical rounds. Yeah. And I mean, even for the lizard folk, it was just like literally build T-Rexes, unleash T-Rexes, win. That was the strategy. Like, you could decimate every single fortress in the game just by, creating a whole bunch of T-Rexes and just launching them at the fort. They'd break through the gate in no time, just rush on in and slaughter everything, and you're done. GG. But every Civ had something that was, like, ridiculously overpowered in one fashion or another. But yeah. Honestly, what time is it, though? Because I do have to go here soon, and I've actually been on here longer than I thought I would, because I was not feeling well today, and I was really hesitant on whether or not I'd be doing some Dwarf Fortress today. But I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and dive on here and give it a shot. And it really turned more so into a chat fest than actually actually playing Dwarf Fortress. But still, that was enjoyable nonetheless. But the moment you just had 3 with 200 plus men, and yeah, exactly. And there were always like certain strategies, regardless of the Civ, where it would just be overpowered as hell. And again, they're still not building this damn carpenter. I give up with them. Oh. Okay. He has claimed the position of... Who are you? Are you an actual dwarf in my fort, or are you just some... Let me pull up the therapist. Oh yes, for anyone just joining us, we now have a functioning dwarf therapist. It is still in beta, because unfortunately, the way that they programmed the new version of Dwarf Fortress, it overrides a lot of, like, if I change settings on here, it'll actually override that periodically, so you gotta kind of, Yeah, but who is this person? He's a... Wait, is that him? So a human has claimed... Wait, did he actually... He has claimed the position of lawgiver of the Reclusive Confederation, which isn't us. So he's not actually a noble... He's not a noble for us, but because he somehow became the lawgiver... It's kind of like what happened last time for my previous fort, where we had a dwarf that joined our colony become a baron for another province, but he never left our fortress to be the baron of that province. He literally just stayed here and gave us orders for shit he wanted made, but was a baron for another, another civilization. Just like this guy joined our fortress to fight evil, but now he's also the lawgiver of a completely different area. But he doesn't, because a lawgiver is not a position in our fort, he can't actually do anything here. It's just, I kind of wonder if he'll actually give mandates, even though he's not actually a noble. That would be interesting if he's like, I mandate the construction of human claymores, and it's like, bro, we can't make that? Yeah, the old lawgiver must have died, but I still find it funny that that's actually happened. Let me actually close the therapist here before I forget, which I did. But that's entertaining, and that's the kind of stories that really bring this game to life in a sense. But it's a shame that this game is going to be dying on YouTube here soon, along with a lot of other games. At least according to YouTube's new policies, which of course I've discussed previously in a different video. Since any and all games with violent content are no longer YouTube friendly to a point, and to say the least, this game has graphic depictions of dismemberment. Even though it's not really what I would call graphic, or what anybody would really call graphic to a point. It's like, oh, you know, a dwarf swung an axe and a head sailed off in an arc. How is that really graphic? Oh, they changed their policies. Yeah, they changed their policies somewhat recently to both affect violent content as well as naughty words, we'll say. And they are retroactively applying this new policy to any previous videos. So if anybody has made content previously on anything that's considered 18 plus, yeah, they are retroactively applying that to everybody. And it might in part have to do with a current court case that's going to be going into session soon, if it hasn't already, which is, I think, Gonzalez versus Google, in which he's essentially alleging that Google, and through Google YouTube, I think is what he's alleging, not properly censoring, or I think it was like actively recommending extremism, like say terrorist, for example, content to people who should definitely not be like, honestly, nobody should be recommended terrorist content, but because there were situations where people were being recommended this stuff, there is now an active lawsuit on that, which is, you know, basically the case could kill algorithms across the board because of issues with it, and I can understand, like, there are some things that should be, you know, that should definitely be banned in a way, but that's not necessarily the way to go about it. Like, yeah, no. I mean, we had the same thing in Canada here, where the Canadian government was trying to force YouTube to essentially change their algorithm in Canada to favor Canadian content in lieu of basically big name media. Because as we all know, you know, the old, like, cable subscriptions are basically a thing of the past to a point, because we get all our content from YouTube, we get all our content from, you know, our own subscriptions like Netflix and so on and so forth, and practically none of us have a cable subscription anymore. So they're trying to make these other platforms follow the same rules of content that big name media follows, which would basically force them to tweak the algorithm, which would not benefit creators at all, and would, if anything, cause them, you know, issues. Because then people are being force-fed an algorithm for stuff that they do not want to watch, that does not fit their, you know, their preferences, because of, you know, bullshit reasons, essentially. I can't be, the whole, like, I can't be responsible or keep an eye on what my kids do 24/7, man. I didn't sign up for this when I chose to have kids. And, you know, oh, wait, I have to spend all my time watching after my kids? Oh, man. Please, government, protect my kids from themselves, because I can't be bothered to do it myself. Yeah, it's the same shit. Like, honestly, let's be, like, I have someone that is soon to be an extended relative of mine, who does shelter their kids, and it's like, that's never a good thing. Your kids are not gonna grow up and be so happy that you kept them away from all the horrible things in the world. No, they're gonna hate your guts because you freaking, kept them in the blind about this crap, and now they're they're in real society and they don't know how to deal with it because you never bothered. You were so busy trying to protect them that you never bothered to prepare them for anything, and then, shit happens. And it's like, let's be honest, kids are not stupid. Kids are very smart. There are probably kids out, like probably 6-year-old kids that can even do some basic programming nowadays. I would not be shocked if there were some like really young kids that knew some kind of level of basic programming. Hell, there's a literal game, Autonauts, that teaches you basic programming in a way. Because that's how you run the game. That's how you run the bots in that game. So it's like, kids are not stupid. Kids have never been stupid. So if they want to get access to something, they will find a way. But it is your job to discipline it and, make sure to tell them, like, hey, I know you're going to get into this shit. This is why you shouldn't, or this is why you need to be very careful with this stuff, because, you need to have communication skills. Like, if you don't talk to your kids, it's the same thing if you don't talk to your significant other. If you don't have a form of communication where you can talk about things and, break things down, then shit's not going to go well for you. I too enjoy Autonauts, but I am also not the greatest at it. It's like, communication is everything. It really is. Like, you need to be able to talk about shit. Even very difficult shit to talk about. You need to be able to do that. Because that's just a part of life. Is communication. And proper communication is something that can really, help even save relationships to a point. It's like so many people end up breaking up simply because they do not communicate. They do not talk. And that's the saddest thing. But yeah, no, it's like, show them everything. Show them why it's bad. Show them, don't try and pull a blindfold over it, because they're not going to benefit from that. You have to be open with your kids and, open with people in general as to why, this is bad. That's her problem. Yeah, Sherry tells me I talk too much. That's her problem. Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, as a matter of fact. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're more open, you can have at least the understanding of what, what's expected and what's there to deal with, rather than finally sending it a surprise. I mean, there's always the joke that for those that have ever watched good old Gabriel Iglesias, Mr. Fluffy, one of the main jokes that he always said was like, when people get into a relationship and they're like, after a year we knew it was meant to be, or after a month we knew it was meant to be. A year later, he changed. She's not the same. He changed. She's not the same. It's like, they didn't change. They just check their morals when they're, getting something new because they want to make things work. And they shut their mouth. They weigh their pros and cons, but it's like, you have to be, if you want something to last, you have to have an open and honest communication in that. Otherwise, it's not going to, potentially. Not to say that it never does, but if you're gonna, be happy being miserable forever, then yeah, by all means. But otherwise, it's like, just talk about it. It's better than the alternative. Yeah, it is a classic. Think my desires at my kids, and they, irate when they don't listen. It's like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, kids, a lot of the times kids don't listen. They don't want to listen, but, it also really depends on a lot of ways. I mean, oh man, that's why I've always like, there's obviously like there's laws related to minors in a sense where they're treated differently than somebody, like an adult who commits a serious crime. But I've always been like, children aren't stupid. If they feel like they are protected under something that means that they can do something bad and not get punished as, punished for it. They will do it. I once watched a group of kids chasing after an old Chinese couple and basically going after them like a pack of hyenas until he freaking turned around and told them off and basically yelled at them, and then they freaking scattered and went off somewhere. And it's like kids are capable of a lot of really shitty actions, I will say. And yeah, in a lot of senses they should be treated the same, although there is obviously some considerations to be made, as there's always any considerations to be made to a point. But I feel like we let them get away with too much, thinking they're sweet and innocent and mean nothing wrong. And it's like, your kids will manipulate you in a second if they think they can. They will. We've all done it. We've all done that shit. Let's be honest. Like, if we look back at our childhood, like, we are all guilty of that. Most vicious kind of human you've ever met. Yeah, I've done some shit. I did some shit back when I was a kid that I 100% regret. That was very, very not good. And I 100% regret it, and I would have definitely changed it, go back and change it if I could, but no can do. So all you can do now at this point is just make better decisions. Because that's the one thing that, as well, let me see. I was still hoping it was my plump helmet guy, but he still doesn't want to join my fortress. I'm very sad. I'm very sad that the plump helmet man does not want to join the fortress. But hopefully he sticks around in my bar once I actually get that fully constructed. Which apparently is taking its sweet time. But yeah, it's like, don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one thing is, like, we always like to blame everybody else for our own decisions and our own choices, and that's always one of the things where it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, nobody held a gun to your head and made you choose this, that, or the other thing. That was your choice. I'm just going to have these darn things butchered, because it's like, at this point, they're still not building building what I need them to, so let's just get them dealt with here so that we're not having to get screwed over when they explode and just destroy the fortress via lag. These pults have definitely become a bit too much to handle. Actually, let me just outright start just going mass here, because this is just a bit too much. Yeah, I'm honestly thinking that I might just, as much as this fortress is interesting in the fact that we have a necromancer and such show up, I might just say, to hell with this fortress and move on and just create a new one under that mod, because that seems to be more interesting than an evil biome that's hardly evil. Childish thinking leads to childless evil. And it's like, people are always trying to protect their kids from, harming themselves in one way or the other, whether it's touching, something hot or something like that. But that's how we learn. We learn by getting hurt and thinking, oh man, that really sucked. I never want to do that. I never want that to happen again. And we don't ever do that again. It's like, it's one thing to say something, but you have to experience it too, because, yeah, sometimes you just don't believe it until you do something stupid. God knows we've all done a lot of stupid things. Thinking, oh, this will be fine, and then you freaking have to get rushed for a couple of stitches or some freaking needles to pull out a nail because you were playing in some construction area and they decided to not clean up after themselves. Yeah, no, I've done that too. Even now, I still freaking like, oh, I'm just gonna reach in and, touch this, grab this thing, and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? That was stupid! Oh, they actually did finally, oh no, it's not even linked up yet. What am I doing? Yeah, no, 100%, like, even now, we still do that shit. Oh, hey! The dead walk, they finally are here. Wait. Oh god, they're goblin corpses. You know what? We actually have a undead goblin siege. Interesting. Well, finally this evil biome is kind of, not less lame, I should say. But still, to be completely honest, I kind of want to let them win. Because I'm not all that happy with this fortress, and I kind of want to go with something else. So I'm kind of, you know what? I think I'm just going to let them win. We're going to fight it out. Now, I don't want to create a new squad. I want to assign everyone else to this squad here. We're adding the Necromancer into the squads. The clerk Necromancer shall be added, and her husband shall join her. The one thing people told me not to do was assign the... And I'll actually go... I'll do this battle in the bar itself so that we can get all these guys joined with us here. So let's go ahead and station up in the bar. So all these hammerers and such can join us in battle. Yeah, losing is fun. I want to lose on this one, because I honestly want to recreate this fortress and using that Dark Ages mod pack. Because I feel like that's going to be more interesting. Another Hammer Dwarf is visiting. Not sure where the heck they're all going, but they need to station up in here right quick. Indeed. But yeah, it's like... I mean, as much as I may say that, though, it's like people are going to do what they want to do. That's always how it be. Oh, I've been found dead already. So they've already murdered me. Goblin Wrestler, Putrid Butcher. I like how they... Bomb Wreck Stakekeeper is assumed the position of the Expedition Leader. Here they come. Oh, what's that? They have a Tiger Man. An undead Tiger Man as well as joining the fight. Let me actually go ahead and lower the, lower back to standard time now. The children will face it next. Oh. Oh no, the Necromancer died. No, Necromancer's husband died. Wait, did Cole die already? How did... He was actually a skilled Hammer Dwarf. How did he die so quickly? I want to see his fight. Because he actually at least had some skill. So he struck him with the shot is blocked by his shield. Bashed him in the left hand, fracturing the bone. Ooh, ouch. So he already maybe lost his hammer right there. Can it all end so quickly? Be gone, fear. Managed to get smashed in the lower leg. Ouch. So he fell over. Yeah, so with the first shot, I think disarmed him. So he got nailed on the hand. The Goblin Hammerman bit him in the head, latched on firmly, and then shook him around by the head. Oh, wow. Yeah, no. Like, the first strike that it did, it nailed him on the hand, which disarmed him. And then after that, it was just game over. Dang. The defensive line will be in the tavern. Hold! A lot of people are going to die here. The bard has been found dead. Dwarven child, unfortunately. Man, this guy is going on a rampage. I mean, I could have easily survived if I decided to, you know what, let's just go for it. Alright, everybody. We're ganging up on him. Kill him. All dwarves. Final assault. Go. Attack. Attack! Surely he can't kill us all! Oh shit, he killed us all! Oh yeah, he 100% killed us all. Well then. Who do we have left? The Necromancer. Zod is the only one left, and he's about to die too. So at the very least, we did finally get some undead show up, but it was a siege, which I'm like, why? And why now? We got sieged by that. We didn't even have anything resembling enough value for a siege like that. Nor enough dwarves, really. But, yeah. That's certainly bad for YouTube. Yep. A whole lot of bodies here. Reset the server to pause when nobody's logged on. Nice. Alright, have a good one, Quinn. Good luck with all the work shenanigans, you poor guy. Oh, boy. This dwarven child is the last remaining survivor. Until everyone else gets wiped out here. Yep. I like how 2 of them actually got captured because of the cage traps. Actually, did they even trigger anything? Oh yeah, they did trigger. So we got a tiger man and a goblin here. And this is a full-blown siege too, because we got, yeah, a couple of caged prisoners. So quite a few showed up. I like how it says I have a population of 8 when I really don't. It looks like they're getting whittled down here too in a hot second. Oh god. Yes, all of the dead. Oh boy. Alright, let's go ahead and speed up the destruction here. Because also I have got to go here shortly, so let's go ahead and speed that up. Plump Helmet Man Hammerman is actually holding his own. Oh, shockingly, they managed to pull it off. They actually managed to slaughter most of them. So the only ones left now are this guy. And he basically seems to be leaving. Yeah, he's essentially left. So the one guy who just, like, decimated everybody already left. That's kind of sad. Yeah, no. We're 100% going to try a new fort using that mod next time. Because, yeah, no. I just was not a Yogs. And you got here and I was just about to leave, too. But, yeah, no. I just wasn't a fan of this one, honestly. It was just, we needed to have something better than this fort. There just wasn't enough interesting evil stuff happening. No rains, no fogs, no random undead running around to hide from. They just rushed in and got slapped. We had a undead siege showed up, and I kind of let them invade and killed everything. But yeah. Anyway, I digress. That's going to be the end of this one here for now, and I unfortunately do have to run away and get some stuff done. So yeah, stood no chance. Like, I could have technically won if I just closed all of the main doors, well, closed the one main gate, and had put a bunch of cage traps in the hall. We literally could have caught all of the undead and then thrown them in the shooting range, and we would have been fine, but I'd rather try the what is it, Dark Ages? Or let me double check here. Yeah, Dark Ages 5. I'd rather try that out, because I've never actually even tried that mod pack. I've tried the Fallout pack, Masterwork, and among other things, but I've never tried the Dark Ages one, so I'm kind of interested to see how that plays. and looks. So yeah, we'll definitely check that out. But regardless, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the kind of ranting and bullshit and all that jazz. And literally 90% of this was less Dwarf Fortress and more just chatting about random crap. But hey, hope you enjoyed regardless. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, everybody.